again. This is one of many stops we've been conducting to survey the damage and to find out how we can be helpful to people in various communities. And I'm here at the Fresh Pond Depot because an extraordinary person is standing here with me, an individual who represents New York's greatest individuals, the people who you don't see every day, but they're out there making sure we get where we have to go, home to our families, getting to our jobs. And these are our transit workers. These are our bus drivers. These are people who run the subways. And I know we all call everybody heroes, but to me, you are God's gift to all of us, the work that you do. And I want to thank the transit workers. There's 145,000 members overall, 41,000 members of TW 100. Their leadership is extraordinary, and I want to thank all of them for being there in some of our darkest hours, going to your jobs, not forgetting your responsibilities, and taking care of other people when it's a lot easier for you to be home in the safety of your own family and making sure they're okay. So I want to acknowledge Grace Mang was going to join us. I think a lot of people are still stuck in traffic because the roads are not perfect yet, but and also Donovan Richards may be joining us yet, but Senator Joe Adabo has joined us. And there's someone here, Jan Oliva. We've been at events all morning surveying the damage. We just came in from Great Neck to see what's happening on the tracks there with the LIR. We were over in another part of Queens earlier today to talk about the devastation in one community. There was a loss of life. So I'm just beginning my in-person tours, and I want to remind everybody that this situation is still unfolding. We don't have all the damage assessments, but President Biden and I spoke just a few hours ago. He has promised his full support. He said, Kathy, tell me what you need and we'll get it done. So that gives me great assurance. But today we're going to not talk about the larger picture. At this particular event, I want to celebrate one individual. An individual who did not intend to be an overnight viral sensation, but I'm sure your 3 daughters and grandkids think that you're pretty cool right now. And that is someone whose name is Rosa Monte. Rosa did something that is absolutely unbelievably heroic. During the depths of our greatest time last night when it was scary, you saw the images, if you were living it yourself, people were literally driving down rivers. Many vehicles were abandoned. People fled for their lives. But people still needed to get where they had to go and get to the safety of their homes. And how did they get there? When the subways are shut down, it was the bus drivers, the bus operators who never left their posts. They sat there. They welcomed riders in. They took care of them. They gave them the assurance that I'm going to take care of you, I'm going to protect you, I'm going to get you where you're going. And I want everyone who's not seen this video to watch this, and that'll deepen your appreciation for people like Rosa Monte for what she did. She drove passengers through 3 to 4 feet of water. I watched that video. The water was not on the street. The water was in the vehicle. The water was in the bus. People were literally standing on their seats to make sure that they did not drown inside a bus. Can you imagine the terror that people experienced in that moment? But she didn't pull over and say, I'm out of here, I'm going home. She stood there. She drove. She went through the night and did what it took to get people there safely. So I want to tell you how grateful we are for your bravery, your courage, and the fact that you're back here again. We need to get her off to her job because she's got a shift to undertake. But Rosa, from all of us here in the state of New York and the city of New York, you represent the great individuals who are members of TWU, who show up every single day and continue to do your work even in the most adverse circumstances. And I, as governor of the state of New York, representing over 20 million people, say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being there for us. And thank you for what you did last night in particular, literally saving the lives of people who, if they had been in the streets, may not have survived the experience. So Rosa, come on up and say hello for a couple moments. I want to thank you for what you did. Let's give a round of applause.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Rosa Monte. I'm working for Transit for 8 years. I represent all my co-workers, and not only me, just everybody was there outside with this, all that water that's flowing. I mean, the only thing in that moment happened is pass to your mind is take your passengers safe, a safe place. I don't even see the water in my bus. I don't even see the people who was over the sea. My only thing, I just thank I'm going to go through this water. I'm going to take my passenger to the other side. And that's the only thing everybody's heroing here. All my co-workers is heroing here because we're doing every day for the community, to the people. We just happy to serve, all right? Thank you.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I'd like to also acknowledge, Assemblyman Hevesi is here as well. I want to thank him for joining us. I also want to have Jano Lieber again, who I've talked to throughout the night, the early hours of the morning, and throughout this day to assess our situation on the MTA. And I know he has some words to recognize Rosa as well. Jano?
This is the bus behind us that Rosa Almonte was driving last night in that viral video. When I grew up in New York and I started riding the bus to school, 2 buses to school when I was 7 years old. My brother and I, he was 6. And bus drivers were the figures of authority in my life. They were people I looked up to for their professionalism, the way they kept order, and their knowledge and expertise. And Rosa Almonte demonstrates that. So we honor her for what she did last night, but we also honor all of the bus drivers and all of the transit workers and all of the MTA professionals who have enabled us, first with the bus system, which was the life preserver in the storm yesterday, but second, to restore service on the subways. We've got about 75 to 80% of service going on the subways now, 90% of bus service. Long Island Railroad is going. Metro North is going to be a little bit later, but it's because of the professionalism of our workforce, and we bless Rosa, and we thank everybody who participated in this. So Rosa, a big thank you again from all of your colleagues at the MTA.
Assemblymember Hevesi, do you want to say a couple words?
Thank you, Governor Hochul. To everybody here today, thank you to Rosa for her amazing work. To the chairman of the MTA, Mr. Lieber, thank you so much. This is what it looks like when New York elected officials work together. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Thank you, Governor.
Senator Addabbo, who was literally coming down from Albany, we passed some very important legislation to protect our renters and landlords, and he came down and had to travel through this. So, Senator Addabbo, tell us what it was like.
I actually picked the wrong day not to bring the canoe to Albany, but good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. And I just want to say thank you, Governor Hochul, for being here, for everyone from the MTA, to our workers, our union members. Thank you so much to Rosa. You know, when Rosa woke up yesterday, I didn't think she envisioned what her day would end like. But that's New Yorkers. We step across that line, go from ordinary to extraordinary when we have these kind of situations. And Rosa, that's what she did. She just stepped up and did what she had to do for the safety of those passengers and for doing her job. So for that, we are certainly grateful. Thank you very much. Thank you, Governor.
I'd like to invite JP, the Vice President of TWU 100, ask him to give a few reflections on the experience and the incredible people that he has a chance to work with.
All right, thank you very much. We're very happy you came here today. It says a lot. We all know that bus operators like Rosa and others last night did what a lot of people wouldn't be able to do. When everything was falling apart, it was the bus operators that were out there making sure that people were safe, and that's exactly what she did, and that's why we're celebrating her today, and I'm very happy you came down. What could you say? Bus operators are the E in essential worker, right? When everything else fails, we're out there making sure the city moves. So thank you very much. I'm proud to stand with her. Thank you very much to the governor and everyone else, and we should be doing this. This is a great thing.
We'll take a couple questions, but I don't want to delay the service. This bus needs to get out there. Rosa needs to get back on the road, and we need to start getting people back to normal. So I'll take a couple questions. Yes.
Governor, I have one for you and one for Jano. You've been in office for 9 days now, and the subway's broken down twice. One was a storm. One was a bit of a whoopsie-daisy at the RCC on Sunday. But the MTA is now under your control. What are you doing to prevent some of these calamities in the future?
Well, I'm very conscious of the fact that we've had crises, but I've been in public service as elected official for 27 years, so I'm well accustomed to dealing with whether it's a 7-foot storm event up in Buffalo, flooding on Lake Ontario, flooding elsewhere in the Hudson Valley, the southern tier, the city, as well as Long Island. So what I do first, I show up. I find out from the experts what's happening exactly on the ground, and our first priorities are to protect life and property. And once you've made that assessment that you've done everything you can, then you're going on from the immediate crisis situation to assess the short-term damage. We'll literally be taking representatives from FEMA embedded with our emergency operations personnel to go out and survey the damage. And it's a large area. I just came in from Great Neck. It goes all the way up to Westchester, where I'll be shortly. It covers a multi-county region, multi-borough region. So I need to find out what has actually happened so we can quantify it to be able to apply for FEMA assistance. That brings direct money from the Small Business Administration for our businesses, assistance for our homeowners, as well as I deployed our insurance entities, the Department of Financial Services, to tell the insurance companies, I want people on the ground now to help people with their claims so they can start being made whole again, so they can start the repairs. I mean, people's homes were devastated right here in Queens. And also the damage that has been done to countless basements. And for many people, the basement is their home. This is not a lower level where people have a game room. This is their home. And that's what's happened. So now we have a homeless situation, people who have to be in shelters. So I also am talking to the Red Cross and our state agriculture committees and the commission to make sure we get money and food to people who may be in need. So that's the immediate need. Then we assess the damage. Then long term, we start saying, what are we going to do differently? Was there anything we could have done? Earlier notification to residents. Did anything go off on their cell phone to tell them there was an alert to take cover? Don't go out on the roads, to make sure that you're safe. What are we doing to deal with the infrastructure challenges? I just was with Senator Schumer. I just got off the phone with Senator Gillibrand, talked to the president today. We need those infrastructure dollars here because this is a long answer to your question, but we prepared after Sandy to deal with resiliency along coastline. We're in good shape there, and they really held firm. What we don't have is enough resiliency in our city streets. And what we're talking about is the fact that there's too many drainage systems that are incapable of handling that volume of water. So we need to go back, assess where we had the most damage, the most flooding in the subways, figure out how to address the drainage and the storm sewers in those areas so they can handle the capacity of the volume, because this is not going to happen every 500 years. This may happen again next week. What was astounding to me is that we broke record rainfall. You know when the last record was set? 1 week ago. 1 week ago. That's what we're dealing with. So we have an immediate, the future is now in terms of the climate change and the effect on our communities, and we're trying to deal with it short term, long term, and also building more infrastructure. Next question.
Can you also, can you also talk about subway infrastructure, and does flood mitigation measures, does that need to be a higher priority given the frequency of storms?
Yeah, I mean, the governor laid it out really clearly. What we're seeing is that what's happening in the subways is because the storm sewer and drainage capacity at the street level is being overwhelmed. So I actually have, a couple weeks ago when I took the acting chair, I paired up with the city government to start a team that's assessing that vulnerability. Coincidentally, we already had that team underway in partnership with the City Department of Environmental Protection. I spoke to Deputy Mayor Foulihan at some length today. We've actually accelerated that effort. It's not just coastal resiliency. It's now about vulnerability of higher elevations where the drainage infrastructure is insufficient to withstand these kinds of extreme weather events. And we're going to attack that. Make sure there is sufficient drainage to keep water from cascading down into the subway. And we're also going to reassess the subway's ability to accept the water that is inevitable. Remember, the subway is not a submarine. There's water coming from all directions and all penetrations. We have to plan for it, as the governor has laid out.
I'd also like to acknowledge that our borough president, Donovan Richards, is here. Donovan, did you want to say a couple words?
I will keep it short, but just want to thank our unsung heroes for what you do each and every day, and not only driving our city, but as of last night during the storm, and putting yourselves in harm's way to ensure that we can save some lives, but also to keep the city running as well. So thank you to our transportation workers. We are beyond grateful to you. And thank you to our governor who lived in Queens before she became governor, but has certainly been here all day and available 24 hours, 7 days a week since she's taken office. So thank you. I look forward to working with you to ensure that that assistance that's coming down from the feds to the state reaches our small businesses, reaches our homeowners, and of course that we'll see those investments going into our infrastructure from north to south to west to east in Queens as well. So thank you, Madam Governor. Thank you to our workers. Thank you for keeping our city running and keeping us safe. Thank you.
Claro, claro.
Buenas tardes. En el momento de que tú estás en un problema difícil, tú no piensas solamente en ti, tú piensas en tus pasajeros, de que están en un riesgo y tú quieres llevarlo a un lugar seguro. Cuando yo estuve ahí en toda esa agua, yo no encontraba qué hacer y mi decisión fue pasar mi pasajero al otro lado donde estuvieran seguros. Yo no miré que yo estaba encima del asiento, yo no miré que estaban con agua entre el bus. Solamente yo pensé, yo voy a pasar este río de agua. Y miraba carro entre el medio, miraba garbage entre el medio y simplemente yo miraba hacia adelante y quería llevar mi pasajero donde estuvieran seguros. Gracias.
Gracias, and we'll let her get back to work, and thank you all for turning out. And let's give a round of applause to all of our TWU transit workers. You did it, you got the job done, you helped us when we needed you the most. Thank you, everyone.